You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. We're running late tonight, as you can tell, by about 15 minutes, and it's because technical difficulties. And I'm on my phone, so it kind of looks weird. So just going to put that out there. But welcome, everybody. Hope you all have a great day. My guest this evening is Asia May Moon, of course. We put that out there earlier. And we're going to talk about wrestling, lady, and the 42 Live, and all the stuff that, that I missed out on. So, what's shaking, baby?
Oh, goodness. So we had a really fun cup. We had a whole bunch of companies come out and win these awesome hand-blown cups from Oleg. We super appreciate your work, but they were all handcrafted to each category. And we went with gold because Ross's gold was part of our cup. So we did a mashup. I know it's a bit controversial of the legal market and the underground market, mom and pops and connoisseurs, and kind of mashed them all together. So it was definitely a different experience. It was super fun. We had people enter from all over Canada, as far as Newfoundland, all the way up to BC. And then once our cup was complete, we, I think I need to pull this down, but we did the 42 Live. So once we were all done the big cup, we all voted on these cards. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, everyone got to re-vote on everything that was in the cup and get to do it live with everyone there. So anything that was left over was shared with all the crowd. And we had John Barfellos and Remo lead our 42 Live, which was super great. And Mercules also did his guest appearance, and same with Golden BSP and Petty Boy. And Savage Banks kind of came surprisingly to give out our 42 Live cups. So that was also pretty fun. Yeah, and it was good to see people like Beer Brothers came out. We got to see Best Bud Society. Yeah, there was lots of people there. Canamatch. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of people, but Mad Hatter also obviously was there as well. He was one of our sponsors. Yeah, it was a pretty good party. Yeah, and it was a full house, completely sold out. So not very much room to get around, but we certainly learned to work with each other. And I think the best part of the whole evening is we managed a way to get Cassie downstairs into the Amsterdam Cafe. So really appreciate you guys at the Amsterdam for making sure that she could come in and join us downstairs. But yeah, it was a pretty wild event, and we are going to do it again for next year in Vancouver, same date, 4:20 to midnight. We have a new special guest, but we're adding a little twist to the 2024 Cup. You'll be able to not only do the cup, but there will be a performance. So our special guest will also be performing for us once we give out the awards.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that. It's been a while. Getting back has been very challenging. Everyone is definitely experiencing the pinch of legalization. It's changed how we do business, that's for sure.
No kidding, right? That's one of the biggest things that, any of these events that we're realizing is like, we have no sponsorship anymore. Like, our sponsorships are very limited because anybody who is in legal market can't sponsor, right? Well,
they can, but they can do it in certain ways, like giving you a bunch of lighter leashes or giving out hats or something to that effect, but they can't sell it. Yes, there's definitely a lot of restrictions there. But it's doable if everybody just kind of works together with what they can and cannot do. It's a thing.
Well, here's the thing. You can gift 30 grams of cannabis. So even as a store owner or a licensed producer, you may have to purchase that said 30 grams to donate or gift. But that would be the way that you have to. So, it's no different than you being a grower in the black or wherever. You're still purchasing and then gifting. Only now it's legal. So you can legally purchase 30 grams and then technically you can legally gift it to whoever the hell you want. If that means it being at some cannabis cup, so be it. So I think that that's another, like I said, like you have ones that, and that's no rule breaking. As a
Well, that
personal
was why
person,
the 42 Live was invented. So you're allowed to bring 30 grams to enter, or 7 grams of concentrates just within the rules of possession. The 42 Live is going to be actually going to Edmonton in 2024. So that is outside of British Columbia, guys. I think that's super exciting. That will be summer of 2024. And the idea is to have a completely legal cup, where literally, everyone brings their ounce of weed, they bring their 7 grams, we do it live, it's right there on the spot. And I'm really appreciative of Johnny B experimenting with that with us for the first 420 cups. So it was kind of 2 cups in one. So everyone got a chance to just have some fun on top of everything, which was really great. But it'll be fun to see it separated as well, because they are two very dramatically different ideas. One being completely legal, one being very underground, in the sense that, we are giving out enough so each kit has only the 28 grams, which that kit that everyone received in the mail was exactly 28 grams, in case anyone is confused. But yeah, it is definitely an underground way of doing it. So having them separate and doing their own things is certainly fun. And it'll be neat to see a cup going on the road. I don't think there's been one yet. Perhaps I'm wrong, but they're planning to go to a couple different cities before coming back to Vancouver. So it's probably going to be 5 or 6 years before we see the 42 Live again here in British Columbia.
oh, interesting. We had a guest on Pace Radio the other night, and she does buds and brushes. And it's the same type of thing, only she's doing it in Jamaica. And it's
Oh,
a
cool.
Jamaican thing, right? So, yeah, it was really interesting to talk to her. And she's doing stuff like that too, and it moves around. And this next event she's holding is going to be at the Hot Box Cafe, or Hot Box, not cafe, resort in Jamaica.
Oh, nice. I've been to Jamaica a couple times. It's definitely a beautiful place. The beaches are absolutely amazing. And, despite what some people might say that there is, a little bit of a hard aspect to the community, as long as you go out during the right hours, you're perfectly safe. Just don't do anything stupid.
And I've never been to Jamaica, but she's
Oh,
from
really?
Jamaica. Like this girl's from Jamaica, right? She lives there. That's where she lives. And yeah, she's made some connections here and doing some really cool things in Jamaica, and then gives all of it to charity. Like,
Oh, that's awesome. That's what we did for the
right?
Mom Cup 3. I will say that was the last Mom Cup ever. We are moving forward with the 420 Cup, something new, something a little different. And, certainly those things that apply to the Mom Cup was all in an underground market. Just kind of that whole concept is expired now with legalization. So I'm happy to be moving forward with that. But that's exactly what we did with the last Mom Cup. All of You could either purchase a ticket by donating directly to the Harvest Project and just getting your little, confirmation of donation, and you got a free ticket. If you made a significant donation, you could get a free judge's kit, and you could either donate stuff. And then, of course, if you wanted to buy tickets and do it through us, and we would give a portion of that to the Harvest Project, we did that as well.
Yeah.
And we met our goal, which was pretty good. We actually had one of our sponsors just pay them directly. So super appreciative of that, guys. You guys knew who you are. But yeah, it was a great cup, and it was nice to give back to a group and organization that does so much for people on the North Shore.
Right. And that's the thing. We've often spoke about the fact that if you want to make cannabis mainstream, you have to start giving back to the mainstream. And you have to start being like, I've always told my kids, you want to smoke weed, you got to be like better. You got to do better in school. You got to do better than anybody else. You got to be not lazy. Show them that cannabis doesn't make you, the what they think, the stigma, right? And I've always kind of excelled that way. I think you as well too, is that we always we've got kids, we do our best, we work. Like unless we told people that we smoked cannabis, they probably wouldn't even realize that we did, kind of thing, right? Because we got kids in school and, well, not so much after, I came out of the cannabis closet, but, like in hindsight, like the stigma's still there. So people look at you, even with legalization, going, you smoke weed. I had somebody call me a pothead the other day too. Oh yeah, lazy pothead.
Oh,
I'm
that
like,
would make me laugh so hard if someone called me a pothead.
are you fucking kidding me? You're calling me a lazy pothead. All right. Yeah. They're just kind of, wow.
You know.
Right? Like, yeah. I just don't understand how people figure that anybody who's smoking cannabis, usually for medicinal reasons, it's usually a lot of them have attention deficit and they don't know how to sit still. So, or be lazy.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that boat. I don't know how to sit still. Absolutely. That's why we've jumped right back onto some new projects and moved forward. I have 5 kids, so like I can't sit still even if I wanted to because they're constantly like, needing my attention. They want to do stuff or what have you. So yeah, I'm definitely knowledgeable in the not being able to sit still position, that's for sure. But yeah, 5 kids, playing in the entertainment business definitely keeps me busy, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I have yet to see a
So,
truly lazy stoner, but then I don't know, all the stoners I hang out with have shows and kids and families and jobs. So like I guess I'm meeting the wrong stoners, I suppose.
right. I don't know where all these lazy stoners are. I haven't met too many of them either. They all have lives,
Yeah.
jobs. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anybody who lives in their basement smoking weed.
I live in the upstairs smoking weed.
I don't sit and play video games all day smoking weed. Do you?
No, no,
Yeah.
there's video games.
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of, it's funny how the whole, meanwhile,
But funny
we're
enough,
all,
I used to own a store. It was the Rabbit Hole, and we had a gaming floor where you could go into one room and it was a couple TVs and a PlayStation and an Xbox, and the next room was like old school Nintendo and old school what was that? Oh goodness, I can't remember all the
Atari.
systems we had, but we had like everything from original Nintendo all the way up to like 64 and the Cube and everything else. So I mean, there was a time where I hung out with people playing with video games, but did I really get a chance to play video games? Not so much, because I was mostly cleaning up and taking care of those people that were enjoying them.
Right? And running a business.
Yeah, and to be fair, those people had to pay money to play those video games, so they needed jobs to go make that money to come there and play the games. So I mean, it's
Right?
a vicious cycle of not being able to sit still, I suspect.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. You just the whole stigma. So, you got some other stuff coming up, I hear. You're gonna do
I do.
some
So
crazy stuff, right?
we're not done with 2023, and I'm not going to name names because that would be dirty. But I have really seen since 420 of last year nonstop fighting, old beef, new beef, blaming people for things they didn't even do. So we've decided that we want to bury the hatchet on some of these beefs, and we're going to do pot fights. And for real, we've decided to collaborate with WrestleCore. We have pot contenders or influencers, if you like to call them, that will be fighting each other in a wrestling ring. Our first match is Karen Jones versus Skunk Funk, and I'm sure if any of you have been around a little bit, you would understand their beef from previous cups in the past. And they've decided to beef it out on our stage, and each opponent is matched up with a member of WrestleCore. And yeah, they get to fight it out, and the winner gets an award, and the loser gets to lick their wounds and hopefully bury the hatchet and have some fun.
Really good. Like, so again, I'm like, that's a really good idea because again, division, right? There's so
There's a
many
lot
things
of
that have
division.
divided, the community, whether it was legalization or bad, deals or blah blah. There's so many of them. We could, who wants to speak of them? It's kind of like speaking ill of the dead. Just let it lie, right? But those beefs are still there. So,
Still active. Some of them
good
are
idea.
a decade old, which is crazy. So we've allowed people to do what we call beef callouts. So other people that don't have a matching contender yet. So I am going to fight Vicky Lee. I'm probably going to die, but you'll all have fun watching it, which is great. But we have some people that have suggested fights to other people in the pot community where they haven't had the acceptance of the fight yet. So if the opponent accepts, of course, the two brands are now joined on our screen for a little fun, a little bit of comedic relief, and then an opportunity to, like, you know, spread some awareness about your brand by, you know, coming into this essentially new blood, because I don't really know any wrestlers. I'm sure a lot of them smoke pot. I'm sure they love, you know, lighter leashes and munchies and edibles and pot to smoke. So like, this is the time to start collaborating with some new people, I think, as well. But yeah, part of this is to be funny. We're trying to make you laugh, guys. You know, I'm sure some of you would love to see me get hit with a chair. It's coming. Stay tuned. You'll be able to get it at the Three Happy Cats website. You know, and for those that are rooting me on, well, hopefully I can pick the chair up and swing right back. So, you know, it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really
Are
excited
you
to see
telling
Jeff
me?
and Karen fight, because they are like not matched well when it comes to size. That's like heavyweight division versus lightweight. I'm at least a little bit more matched for my category, which is great. Though we do have a wrestler to help us with this. So, like, you know, we can tap out and they can come in. There's 2 rounds to each fight. And if for some reason it becomes a tie at round 2, then they do a 3rd round, and that's the end.
And you do
We
have
also
to
have
spend some time getting trained, right? Like they're not,
a
they're
little
going to
bit of
teach you some
training, yes.
moves, and there is some choreo, you know, like you know, kind of like whatever. You'll be
There's
trained, right?
also some like safety tips as well, like where you should not hit someone with a chair, like in the face or on the back where their kidneys are. You know, avoid the spine, that kind of stuff, so we don't kill our opponents. Both opponents in all 4 fights that will be listed are aware this is for comedic relief. You know, they're aware they have to do some training. There might be a little risk to it, and the idea is to basically, you know, shake hands at the end of it, have some fun, and, you
Yeah,
know,
you
hopefully
guys don't
work
want to beat
together
the
as
crap out of each other and like draw blood and stuff. It's not like a
yeah.
UFC fight.
Yeah, I did have someone say if you moved it up to UFC, I'd be there, and I was like, fair enough. I'm not quite ready for that yet. We'll let you know how 420 or 42024 goes, and if we got to
No,
move it up, we'll
well,
move it
even
up. Then I
wrestling,
was kidding, of course,
like
but
let's be fair. Like we all know that the wrestling that you see on WWF when we were kids, like Hulk Hogan, that was all fake, right? Like we all know that,
well, they
right?
have to train, and then certainly I would call it improvised fighting, essentially, right? Like, you don't want to kill your opponent. Certainly you don't want to get hurt, but it's not like you see UFC fighting, that's for sure. It's light contact, if that helps.
Do you guys
We
have to
have
wear like safety equipment? Like you're not going to be in your bikini, right? Like, do you have
who
to wear
knows? I
safety?
started picking out my costume. I will have a ridiculous wrestling name, like the glitter, the everything. I'm super excited for the building
Are you
of
going to
my
wear the
costume.
Mexican mask? Are you going to get the mask?
I'm not entirely sure if I want to wear a mask, but there has been some mask suggestions. It is totally up to the opponent and the
You know, you
contenders
are
they
Weed
want to
Woman
dress or how
Australia,
they want to
right?
dress. What's
So
that?
why don't you reenact Weed Woman Australia? Because you're Weed Woman Australia, so you could.
Right. Well, it's not up to us how the fight goes. I mean, in the long run, it is up to like how many light taps you can take before you've had enough. Um, so there is a little bit of contact to it. There's definitely that. We also have Sterling, the 420 professor, coming in to crack jokes at us to see if he can, you know, keep us down longer. However it works out, it'll
I
be
don't think
really
I like
interesting.
this.
What's
You have
that?
to like. I don't think I like this. Like this is like you have to like. You might get hurt.
Like I said, I'm probably gonna die, but you'll all have fun watching it. So I'm in.
Oh,
I'm ready. Um, but yes, it is a bit of contact sport for sure. Certainly not like UFC, like I said before, but there is contact involved. And we've got some comedic relief coming in from the 420 professor, which I'm really excited for. And they're also bringing their own hosts, and the 2 of them are going to coordinate our stage while we have our little beef out.
interesting. And where is this going to be? Have you got a venue yet?
Evening.
I know, but do you have a location pick? Like
I
we're
can't
getting.
disclose the location yet,
Okay.
unfortunately. But
Well,
we
no, I
will be
know
doing it
that,
on our
but like you
website.
have a location. You got it. Everything's all lined up. Everything's
Yeah,
like
I just
your.
have to get my contract signed. So once that's signed, I could post it on our website where exactly we will be.
Nice.
But it's
And what's
definitely
the date? What are the dates?
we haven't released that yet either.
No.
There were 3 suggested dates with the venue we chose, and they essentially will get back to us on which one of them works best for them.
Cool. Well, that sounds amazing. I guess if you want to get beat up with a chair.
I'm in! Roar! Man, I probably use this cup.
Oh, I just
I bet
can't
you
even
just make a
imagine
good
Karen
smash around the back of the
and
head. Like,
Jeff
I'll
like
show you
that.
third
Just gives that
place.
just like.
Boom!
Oh my gosh, I just can't even. But it'll be, I mean, entertainment, right? Let's
That's the
bring back
point,
the
to have
events.
some
Let's get
laughs.
people together. Let's like have a laugh and have some good times. And why not with, beating each other up with a chair?
I just hope no one brings a table, because then I'm seriously down.
I don't think like it's not gonna really get like that. Like, are you guys really gonna like throw each other around with chairs?
Well, you're going to have to
Come on.
come and find out, Tamara.
Uh,
We need a couple of refs. You'd make a great ref. You're so small.
midget wrestling? Oh, I said that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That's probably
It's
not the
all
right
good.
thing to say.
One of our celebrity coaches is Opus 420. He's going to come in from the interior to keep our one team happy and motivated, water in the mouth type thing. And
I was
we've
gonna
got one
coach
more
somebody.
person. We're just waiting to see if they're for sure coming, and then I can announce our next celebrity or pot influencer coach. I've had a few people be like, "You're going to lose," and I was like, "Well, take a TikTok then."
I don't know. Vicky's pretty nice though. She's nice.
Well,
You're nice too. Like, I don't even know how you two are gonna do this. Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't know. It's funny. It's funny. I mean, yeah,
there's
it's
also
funny.
one kind of thing we're kind of throwing out there, like, come and fight or drop it. So if you don't come here and fight it out, we don't want to hear about it anymore. We're moving
Exactly,
forward
right?
because right now this division, I realized from the outside world, 420 looked really united and combined, but we had one group at Sunset Beach, we had another group at Commercial Drive, another one at the Art Gallery, and then some of like the OGs and everybody at Thornton Park. So like we're more divided than ever. Like I'm hoping that we can just move forward as a group, because otherwise our culture is going to die. And I know you know this, but constantly fighting with each other, especially over some really stupid shit, is just like not helping anybody. And I think this is one way to get people talking again. Potentially parties that didn't want to be at the same event might be able to come together and bury the hatchet. Maybe they're just going to take pictures and, be smug with the fun photos they have when they go home. I don't know, whatever it takes to try and get people to talk again, and so we can move forward as a community. I think that's what we need, is some more laughs, some more ways to just branch out to each other again, because I think that's how the government really won. They split us up, and then we just kept fighting. Stupid we look, they totally won. And now we're having to grasp at straws. For example, 4 different events at the same time on the same day. And
Right.
that's why the sponsorship is all over the place, because, like nobody wants to work together. So now you're competing with all these other people. And I mean, it is what it is. And I do know that there's certainly lots of reasons to keep protesting, but there's way more reasons to work together than there is to, keep doing what we're doing in the momentum it's at. And the momentum it's at is
Yeah.
just out and away from each other and further away, and it's not working.
Right. Well, even with the patients, like when did this become a competition of who was the influencer and who did what and what did who and all the bullshit? When did that, this isn't a competition. We all wanted the same thing from the get-go, right? We all wanted access. We all wanted patients access, and now the patients still don't have the access that they need. Rec is taken over. People have gone this way, that way.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
then we
mean?
have
Like,
people that are arguing over, like, the underground and the mom and pop shops and the LPs. Like everybody's stuck in this shitty position. Like whether you're an LP underground or mom and pop shop, nobody's safe. Now we have all of these
right.
friends that used to be united, that they're like, "Oh, you're an LP, I can't be friends with you," or "You're an underground." Like that's not working for us either. Like a lot of these laws need to be changed. Like I believe that all of our LP friends should be able to just freely participate in all of our cups, and we should be able to freely participate in what they're doing. They should be able to sell me a shirt that says, whatever cannabis. I think it's ridiculous that they can't advertise and that they can't sell their products unless it's under a certain scrutiny, and that, like, they're claiming these 28% THC amounts, and then they're shaking it after they've done the goddamn test. They're like,
Right.
I wonder why it's not so strong anymore. Oh,
Right.
man.
Right.
And I realize it's not all companies doing that. I've noticed some companies in the LP are doing hand trimmed. Ross's Gold is one of them. So, like, the machine isn't like stripping all the trichomes and stuff out of it. You know what I mean? All that crystally goodness. At least when you see like the hand trimmed products, I believe that Redbeard is also now on the hand trimmed, which is great because all of those nice, beautiful things stay in the plant. But they were restricted to that. Like, they had to use a machine up until recently, as far as I understood. So, like, yeah, everybody's just getting kind of screwed different ways. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel
Well, that's
like
because and you
definitely
can
lost
tell with the
us.
cannabis you buy in the store. Like, you can tell the difference because there's no resin on the paper. Paper should be brown by the time you fucking get a roach. It shouldn't be white. You know what I mean? And you
Yeah,
should have that dark black, not black, but you know what I'm talking about. Resin.
exactly. But you know what I have noticed in the Remo's Nutrients joints, those supercharged ones, they create the ring, but it's hand trimmed, right? And it's just something about that machine that just strips all the happiness out of it. But like,
Yeah.
that wasn't those guys' fault that it was done like that. It was like, you get a machine or it's considered breaking the law. Like,
Yeah.
I think going legal was probably harder than those staying in the underground, in the sense, because now they had all these rules, regulations, and stipulations in order to stay open, where those in the underground could just keep doing things the way they were. I get that there was some other complications, but the actual job itself of growing, trimming, doing the whole shenanigans is still under their full control, where like now you've got this big brother essentially that is like your owner, business partner, whoever the fuck, that's giving you the Canadian regulations on what you have to do in order to sell this shit. And they're getting like,
Yeah.
what is it, $1.75 a gram for their weed? Like, it's really bad.
Yeah.
So like, they're
It
doing a
totally
lot
is.
of work for not a lot of profit. And it's interesting to see how there's a lot of misinterpretations on how the underground versus LPs and the mom and pop shops are working.
Right.
And people just need to look past the fact that everyone's just trying their best to do what they always wanted to do, and that's just grow weed and help others and be stoned while doing it. Like, I love the fact that I can wake up in the morning and smoke a joint and be myself, and that's pretty much every grower or activist. That's what we've all just wanted, and like, I guess the
Yep.
big part of it's over. Like, now we can legally have the cannabis, but like I said, there's so many more things that we need to fix. And yeah, it's going to take proper protests, proper political rallies in order for that kind of stuff to happen. And with all of us divided, it's just not going to happen as quickly as we'd like it to. And
Right.
I actually just rejoined politics last summer, which I think I told you on your last show you had with me. But I've definitely taken a couple more steps into getting more involved than just going to convention. And it's a little bit more of a process than it used to be. I can see why the younger generation is even more discouraged from joining politics, because there's definitely, like, it seemed like it was so much easier before. You just signed a piece of paper and handed them your $10. They're like, here you go, welcome. Or now it's like, we need your money, we need this, we need this info.
Yep.
You need to like
Yep.
show up for certain stuff, or like your
Oh yeah. Yeah.
your
Okay,
membership
so
is
on that note, let's
valid.
take a quick break and pay some bills for the network, and
All
we'll come
right.
back and talk about how we're doing and what we're going to be doing next
Sounds
in
good.
politics, because I think we both have been, kind of dabbling in that.
For sure.
So
For
we'll
like
go back
over a
and
decade,
thank,
right?
right? Okay, we'll be right back after we thank our sponsors to pay for our bills on the network, and thanks to Al for kicking us up tonight, because we were having issues on my end. We'll be right back after a quick break. Hopefully I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Okay, I'm going to try to do this.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education Radio Network.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBGTV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Are you watching television on Roku, Fire, maybe an Apple TV or even Chromecast? If you are, then download the Boxcast app and search for CBGTV.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch, yes, watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back. That just popped right in. Al must be behind the screen again. Thanks, Al. So, we're talking a little bit more about what you're going to do with, politics, because we're both in British Columbia. Now, I'm involved federally, and you're involved more provincially. And I think, to be fair, because cannabis is all provincial, because look what Quebec just did. Supreme Court ruling still allowing them to prohibit people from growing 4 legal plants, from selling T-shirts with a pot leaf on it, from people blowing glass and calling it a bong, just the most ridiculous shit. But that was a Supreme Court of Canada ruling, leaving the door open for any other province, not that they would because they like the money, to close the doors. And I've said this before on many of my shows. As a patient, 1 gram equals 5 plants. Legally, you're only allowed 4. It's basically the government saying, fuck you, you can't even grow a gram of weed. And that's, I think, wrong. I think that's bullshit. So, what do you think we should do?
Well, there's a bunch of things that we need to change, but Quebec would need to take that up on their own and try and overturn that.
That was an appeal. And then it was an appeal. So it's pretty much
you
a
can
done
after
deal.
a certain amount of times, but
Yeah. I think it was an appeal of an appeal, to be fair.
now here's a question though. Are they exempt under the medical marijuana program?
Yeah. If you're a medical cannabis
then
patient, then you just need to have...
can get their medicine.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Right? And that's,
I
I think,
don't understand how they can allow that to take away that right from the general public, but getting your medical license now is not that hard. There's a lot of things that it can help with, even just mild stress. Doctors are much more open, I think, to doing it now. Like when I got my last licensing, my doctor didn't even charge me anything for it. He's like, I write these out like candy. Like, here you go.
Well, they're not allowed to. I've got the policy for the BC College of Physicians because I have a friend that's a doctor here when we were going to do that, and they're not allowed to charge for prescriptions. So all the doctors that were charging for prescriptions are the ones that got themselves into trouble because they aren't allowed to. By any college
I
physicians
believe they're
across
allowed
Canada.
to charge the $25 to MSP.
Oh yeah, they can charge MSP
But
for your
that's it.
visit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even charge me the $25 for the visit. He was like, "This is all
No, they
free.
can
Good
just
luck."
directly bill. They'll just directly bill MSP as an office visit. You came in the
And that's
office,
how
you
it
had a
should
visit,
be.
and the MSP will pay for it. So
Yeah, and
you
that's
don't
how
have
it
to pay for anything. Just like when you go to the doctor anytime, right? Same thing. I don't have to pay for my hydromorphine prescription or my methotrexate. I got to pay for the pills when I go get them and pick them up, but I got to pay for my cannabis too if I go get it. So it's no different, right? But I don't pay for my prescriptions for any of that stuff. So why would you pay for a marijuana prescription or a cannabis prescription? But yeah,
some
that's for the
prescriptions
doctor.
are covered though. Oh, sorry.
For a
But like
doctor
for
to write
instance,
them.
my antibiotics just picked up were $45.
Well, I know that, but the doctor didn't charge you anything to write that prescription for you,
Correct.
right? Same with cannabis, and that's what
Well,
the
my
doctors got
last 3
themselves,
licenses for cannabis were free, but I got a new doctor for it.
right? But the
The
ones
doctor
that
I
were
had before
charging
that
the
was rather
ridiculous
expensive.
amounts of money got their money and ran. They're all gone. Do you hear anybody paying $5,000 now for licensing anymore? But they did. At one point in time, there were people paying lawyers and to, get a doctor to sign you for whatever and charging $5,000. Like, where are all these people? Where are all these doctors now?
Some of them are dead, funny enough. Because my original doctor is gone. He died, I think, 2014 or 15.
Yeah, that was Alvin's first signing doctor too. And my first signing doctor lost his license.
Oh, wow.
So, you know what I mean? Like, and then my second signing doctor was my actual GP. So that was helpful, right? Like, and same with the last time, like my license was signed by my actual GP here until it became legal. And then she said, well, you could go to the store and get 30 grams a day. Why would I prescribe you 15? Makes no sense. And they were told by the clinic, apparently they're not supposed to do it. So, and the doctors, the college of physicians really deter them because of dosing, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's a conundrum. So where do you hit them? Do you hit them federally? Do you hit them provincially? Where do you hit them? And really, is this a political or is this a medical issue? Like, do you hit the politicians or do you hit the college and physicians? And how do you change their minds?
Whew, that's a lot of questions. I guess you have to start at the root. I mean, originally we had like no medical marijuana, and then we kept pushing and pushing and have people enter the political ring. So it takes a little bit of everything. Starts with, creating enough or a big enough group that can go to, say, the NDP like myself, or go to the Liberal Party like yourself and start the word, and then start writing policies to start protecting people's rights, like in Quebec. I believe Winnipeg or Manitoba is also in the same boat. I believe the province has restricted no growing. So, yeah, I think it would have to be a federal thing, and it would have to be a law that would overturn a court ruling.
Well, that's where we're at, because in hindsight, the government's never given us any of these things. They were forced by a court because of the
Yes, we
constitutionality
pushed the
by it, right?
boundaries enforced by a court, absolutely.
Right. And same with the 4-gram plant grow in Quebec. They pushed the boundary of what the government legislation was and took it to court. And the court sided with the government. So what next steps are there after that? Do we have any?
We do. New policies. Start again from the beginning.
Right?
And changing existing policies.
Well,
Like,
the existing
whatever
policies
policy is attached to our allowance for growing, it should be a no exception policy, meaning that court order that's overturned that for Quebec and Winnipeg is no longer valid.
right?
That's what makes sense to me in my head. I mean, that kind of
Well,
stuff does take years, though.
I never quite understood the whole jurisdiction being given to the provinces to begin with, because it falls under the alcohol and tobacco legislation, right? And even if it falls under healthcare legislation, it's still a provincial jurisdiction,
And
which really,
irony, in British Columbia, the province leaves it up to the municipality. Like, for instance, Lions Bay, that entire town is no smoking. Then you go into, say, White Rock and Crescent Beach, completely no smoking, meaning no cannabis, no tobacco. It doesn't matter if you have a medical license. There is no smoking anywhere in those districts. So it
Like even
really
in your
comes
own
down
house?
to preventing a municipality or a province to overturn a rule or a law.
But you can in your own, does that mean in your own home or just in public?
In the city of Lions Bay, period.
You can't tell you what to do in your own house.
Can they? Or can they not? Just like
Interesting.
being in a strata, if you have enough people on council that are going to tell you how to live your life, unless you raise enough of hell to keep your rights or to push the boundaries, they will take them away if they want to. That's how it works, unfortunately.
Unreal. Yeah, no, I agree. It's kind of like when we had a municipal election here. We have a population of 20,000 people and 4,500 people voted. Like that made me gag. When, then everybody's sitting around bitching about what city council's like doing. Well, you didn't even vote. And you're bitching because but you didn't vote. So the
We used to
people
have
you
a
don't like
campaign
got
called
voted.
Vote with Your Heart, and it was like, doesn't matter who you plan to vote for, vote with your heart, get out there and make your vote count. Because honestly, participation levels are very low. I realize countries like Australia, they have compulsory voting. Forcing people to do it doesn't help. To be quite honest, they hand out fines annually to people who don't vote. Some people do it with conviction, not knowing they're going to get $100 or whatever the fine is in Australia to not vote. So I think the idea is to just get the idea out there that you need to have your word in the door. And
Well, I think that the governments everywhere have lost confidence in the people. Yeah, we're the people that have voted them in, or the people that go out and vote are the people that have voted them in, right? So basically, yeah, like that's why democracy is like crumbling. It's not because of the matter of all these other things. It's because there's no participation of the people that actually make up the boundaries of democracy. Because the percentages of voters are so low. So when people are bitching about the cannabis and bitching about the fact that we don't have, did you guys actually go out and vote? You probably didn't because you're all anti-government, don't want to do this, and I'm going to fight the system. Well, you fighting the system has fucked us because we don't have enough people that have a voice that want to go out there and say anything to actually say anything. They just want to keep button heads.
yes, we definitely have a lot of people that like to do that. I actually, during my Vote with Your Heart campaign, tried to get a couple people that were like hard nose on voting, and one of them really stood out to not vote, and really just proved that some people have convictions but aren't willing to find solutions.
Right? There's always a solution to a problem. I've always said that. There's always a solution. You might not like
when we wanted Stephen Harper out, that was the first time our country really came together. And we did selective voting. We were voting him out. We weren't voting for somebody. We were voting him out.
and that's what they're
So
going to do this time
everyone,
with
we had
Trudeau
the
too,
highest
right?
participation in voting that year. It was so
Yep.
crazy and so amazing. But we need
Yep.
that every year. Everybody, we need to get together and we need to vote and get our actual ideas out. I don't care if you're a conservative, a liberal, NDP, if you are Green Party, get out there and start making what you need happen. And for some people, they join a party and there's a couple policies they don't like, change them. And I've seen policies change right before my eyes. I went to my first convention in 2011. I did provincial and federal back to back, and change is possible. Everyone's given their magic little voting card. In fact, I still have my first one from my Jack Layton days. But you went in, you voted, you went to all the little spaces, you helped write policy, you helped change it. And that's how it works. You just show up. Your vote is just as good as the guy who was elected and is a paid employee. Everyone's vote matters, and nothing is equated differently.
And you can be involved actually not during an election and not during a convention, because there are riding associations for every party across this country. And there's EDAs and people that need volunteers and door knocking and phone banks and all kinds of shit that goes on behind the scenes. There's women commissions and committees and all kinds of stuff that goes on behind the scenes every single day in every party. Like, it's not just the Liberals that have women's commissions and, all these policy meetings and stuff done behind the phone banks, the stuff that we do behind the scenes. The NDP do it. The Conservatives do it. Every party does it. So if you want to make change, you can be making change every single day. You don't have to wait for a convention, and you don't have to wait for an election. right? And that's
That
something I
is
think people are so disengaged and they don't want to hear it, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to live outside their box. And I get that. You want to make sure you go to work every day, you take care of your kids, you got money for, you got enough money for your cannabis. But, yeah, exactly. And do that everywhere. Go sit and read a book to a senior citizen. Go walk a senior citizen's dog. Help with immigration or immigrants. Like there's so many things that you should be doing as a human being to break the stigma of the cannabis community. Mainstream giving,
great. Yeah,
right?
it's time for everybody to let's just hunker down and get these laws the right way. Because right now there's just too many laws attached to cannabis. It should just be cannabis is legal. If you're under 19, you shouldn't be dabbling with it. Trade it, sell it, exchange it however you want. If you want a store, get your license. The licensing fees are way too high. That needs to change as well. But it should be treated like tomatoes, like produce, or
Yeah.
at the very least, like wine. I can sell small amounts of wine if I produce it. I mean, I don't, but it should be treated at least the same as alcohol. I can't understand why it's more regulated than
Well,
alcohol.
that's what I don't understand. All these microbreweries and many, micro wineries and all these little, like, they're selling gin in the fucking at the farmers markets, right? Like these people are making gin in their basements or wherever. They got a little production site. They're making small batches of gin, small batches of vodka, and they're selling it in farmers markets. Why can't it be the same for cannabis? When are we going to get there? Because that's what I mean. Like BC is ahead of the curve to a point because you can actually micro grows can now sell to a store directly. The LBD's been taken out of the micro crafter to the store. If they've got product, they can actually go to the store and say, "Here, man." I don't think they can give samples, but they can try and sell their product directly to a store. Um, they can deliver it in British Columbia right to your door, just like a pizza. Either black or legal market. Come one bank machine or you know what I'm saying, like
Legal or not legal, they come with a debit machine. Absolutely.
right,
But
right.
I
Like
will say
it's
that I've noticed that whether they're legal or not, they just make sure you're 19 or older before they make the exchange, which I
yeah, they
appreciate.
do.
Those
Yep,
that
they
are
do.
underground are making sure to stay on the ball as much as they can.
Well, the thing of it is, they know that the risk that they're taking as it is. Why make it riskier? Why put the added 14 years because they're selling to minors on top of the maybe a fine they might get or their stuff taken away or like you're probably not even going to get a court. You're probably not even going to get charged with trafficking unless you got like 500. Who knows, right? But again, you're doing underage. You can go bye bye. 14,
Yeah, agreed. But
right?
I don't know how that law applies. Like, what if a minor sells to another minor? How does that work out?
I'm not sure how they've got that lined up because that would be then under the Young Offenders Act, right? So I'm not sure how cannabis was rolled into the young offenders because young offenders laws are completely different than adult laws and legislations, right? Because
Fair.
the sentencing is different, the incarcerations are different. It's totally different. And then once you turn 18, it's like la la la, it never happened, right?
I'm
So
curious what the punishment is for selling alcohol to a minor.
I think it's a $350 ticket.
So why is it not the same for cannabis?
Good question. Because some asshat figured that there should still be a 14-year, jail sentence attached to it at some point and grow more than 4 plants. You will go to jail for 14 years. Like as a deterrent, like whether they actually ever enact it or anybody ever gets charged and actually sentenced to that. In 5 years, I haven't heard of one person that's actually been sentenced to 14 years for cannabis in Canada. In fact, I've
That's
heard that, to be fair, I haven't heard of any charges to any significance since cannabis has been legal in Canada. Busts, except for the VCBC. But again, there was no charges. There was a claimant of like, $100,000 worth of product taken by the CVS but no charges were laid, fines apparently. So what's the limitation on what they're going to do for charging? And that would be considered trafficking with large amounts of, cannabis that's over the legal limit of what and edibles over the 10 milligram There's been no charges.
Oh my gosh, those 10 milligrams are a joke. I'm sorry. Whoever thought 10
Totally agree.
milligrams was a good idea, like, can you add
They
at least
didn't,
1 0?
right? Exactly. But again, like I said, there's been no charges laid. So what is the limitations on? And the RCMP were standing right there when they were being
Well, they
busted.
laid
What? But
charges on Neil Magnuson,
for what? When?
trafficking through his van, his program he's running downtown.
Oh, the substitution program. When was that?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, there are, but then let's see what the conviction is. Or sorry, the conviction. I don't know what kind of charges
But
they.
again, yeah, exactly.
Right.
But Ted wasn't charged for
Yeah, they
VCBC a
dropped
couple
that
weeks
too,
ago,
did they? And they also dropped the Best Buds
right?
charges as well.
And same with S&M Sweet Shop on the island, like Michelle's, like all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Like I said, because they got nailed by the CSU too, and I don't think any charges were ever laid. So they might come and take their product, but they're not and maybe get a fine. There was a mention of a $6.5 million fine to Ted at one point from the city of Victoria, but again, no charges, no legal, like nothing. So I don't know. Like I said, I know the laws are on the books, but I guess maybe, and the RCMP were there. I watched it live stream. So I don't know what to say. They all walked in, back
Wow.
into the store and, lit up a joint and fucking bitched, to the, and understandably, and, the media was there and yeah, that was right after they moved to their new location. So I don't know. Like I said, again, no charges have been laid. So again, it's kind of like, remember with me and the illegal chickens, wanting them to come and give me a ticket for the bylaw, so at least I have something to fight. If you don't get charged with anything, you get nothing to fight in the court for. Where you need to walk into a courtroom and say, "Hey, I saw these guys just came and took $100,000 worth of my cannabis. I want you to do something to me." You know what I mean? Like, you're not being charged with anything. You can't go into a courtroom and say, "What? You got nothing. You got nothing, right?"
Fair.
So I don't know what the solution is. Anyways, we've been on for the hour that we are allotted on
Perfect. Well,
Boxcast
thank you for
and
having
Roku.
me.
No, thank you for coming. I love you. And, like, I appreciate you coming, and the fact that I missed 420. I mean, next year I will make sure that I plan my,
Well, we're doing it again next year.
yeah. Because then I've been working there for a
420
year.
Cup.
Woo
Woo!
woo. Right? It'll be in April. It's not that it's May that's busy. So yeah, but I'll book my holidays for that time next year. Because me and Alvin were sitting here kicking our ass because he was off work too. And we both looked at each other and go, "What are we doing? Missing 420."
Yeah, this year
Like,
it
it's
was
just,
really nice though. I will say that the Thornton Park performance was really pretty. They had this huge 61-pound joint. I think it equated to like 63 point something.
I seen that online.
It was awesome. Yeah, so this guy named Dale Rook constructed this huge joint with this team. They came in from the United States. They came in from Alberta. They were doing that. They had Mercules and Afroman on the main stage. They had Prada West. My gosh, they had Firestorm Entertainment. There were so many beautiful people performing. Golden BSP, Petty Boy. It was a really pretty show. There was so much rain. I feel so sorry for everyone that, it really got rained out, but it was really nice to see. Yeah, the food was incredible. So there was also that as well. But
Nice.
next year should be fun. Next year lands on a Saturday. So
Woo!
party time.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, my dear. Well, you stick around after we play the commercial and let everything end, and we'll chat after the show here for a few minutes. So stay on the line, and then we'll figure out where we're going to go from here, because maybe wrestling might be, I got a few beefs.
I think it's time. Let's beef it out, guys. Pot Fight 2023. I'm in. I'm ready. Are you ready to watch me get my ass kicked by the best?
Right? Let's do this. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, with me and Asia tonight, because, it's always fun, and we just, like I said, hang out, smoke some weed, and have a laugh. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You're
now I gotta
listening
go
to
over
Pace
here.
Radio.
There you go.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBGTV, broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.